As seen from space, it's clear that we truly live on a blue planet. Over 70% of the Earth's surface is covered with water, yet only 1% of the world's oceans are covered by coral reefs. The rest lies between the reefs. In the shadows of ancient volcanoes in Indonesia's Ring of Fire, in the outer islands of Papua New Guinea, lies a region where life has remained virtually unchanged, free to evolve both above and below the waves. These are areas between the reefs, unique environments where the seafloor of volcanic soil and silt is too soft for coral to build upon. This type of diving has affectionately been named muck diving. Like a barren moonscape, lifeless and uninviting, the realm of the muck diver appears dull and desolate. Besides a few blades of grass and some tufts of algae, there appears to be little life. But a closer look reveals that all is not what it seems. These plants and algae have eyes, claws, and teeth. This is a world of mimicry and masquerade, predator and prey. As stories of new discoveries in the incredible world of muck diving spread, divers begin to forsake the clear coral waters and colorful reefs for a closer look at this new diving experience. A barren moonscape at first glance. The world of the muck diver is a massive game of hide and seek. And by the time you do see something, it dashes away into the muck or retreats into the sand. Without the protection of a coral environment, the sand is the only place to hide from predators. And anytime you venture out into the open, it's an opportunity for a predator to strike out from the sand and swallow you up, like this lizardfish who caught an unfortunate sand diver passing by.
Muck diving for me, personally, it's an opportunity for me to show people things that they would ordinarily not get to see. I've spent a lot of time diving in a variety of different habitats, and one part of my diving career I was a big animal type of guy, just showing people big animals and large schools of fish. And then when I started diving in habitats that people consider muck diving, I found it much more rewarding, consistently more rewarding, because there's so many different things. It opens up a whole new world to show people. Most people that come in to diving, they go through the evolution of starting out wanting to see sharks and manta rays and big animals, and then after they dive a while, they develop an attitude that they want to see some of the animals that are only legends. They only hear stories about, things that they only see pictures of in coffee table books. And that's when they discover muck diving. They understand that these animals, they only live in habitats that are like sand bottoms, areas that's not really beautiful coral. And for me, the real reward of muck diving is to take people and show them habitats and show them animals that they've been dreaming of all their life as a diver.
Sights like this flamboyant cuttlefish, a rare treat for scuba divers and photographers alike. This fascinating and unique creature uses flamboyant displays, which are usually a sign of poisonous toxicity, to startle and deter predators. This cuttlefish is a prime example of the level of evolution and adaptation that is common to animals in the muck diving world. Besides developing extravagant forms of defense and deception, millions of years of evolving together in this unique environment has also resulted in some of the most incredible examples of cooperative existence on the planet. These striped eel catfish are equipped with stinging barbs on their chins. While the stinging barb of a single catfish could hardly deter a predator, the group carries enough collective stinging power to discourage most any predator. They roll along the sea floor, taking turns feeding from the sand and on small animals, like this freshly hatched colony of snails. Gracefully dancing through the water, the crinoid uses its feathery arms to move through the sea and settle into the substrate where it can filter nutrients out of the water. This is one of the few forms of shelter available in the muck. And anything stationary like this crinoid is sure to play host to a number of small and interesting creatures. These guests have evolved or developed an ability to mimic the physical traits of their hosts, making it difficult for predators and divers alike to recognize what they are seeing. But once a discerning eye is developed, there is a world of wondrous life just waiting to be discovered. As incredible as any environment on the planet, new species are being discovered on a regular basis, like this unidentified shrimp, which has taken up shelter on a sea pan. The scientific community and recreational divers alike are being drawn into the fascinating and diverse world of muck diving. Cooperative relationships, unlike anything else in the animal kingdom, have developed here through millions of years of collective evolution. One such relationship is shown here, a bond formed at an early age between the goby and these shrimp. Almost completely blind, the shrimp spend their days building and repairing the den they share with their goby lookout. Keeping one antenna on the goby at all times while outside the den, the goby immediately alerts the shrimp if a predator approaches. Across the sea floor, a snake eel rests buried in the sand. A colony of cleaner shrimp keep him company, feeding off any particles they can clean from his skin, as he waits in the sand for nighttime to come when he is safe to look for food in the darkness. These newly discovered shrimp have taken up residence in this sea sponge, using it for both shelter and to feed upon. Another one-sided relationship can be seen here, where this rare Rhinopeus unwillingly plays host to a parasitic isopod, who will dig its teeth into the host and feed on its blood supply. Animals like this cockatoo waspfish have evolved to sway in the sea like a lifeless leaf drifting in the current. Even their swimming style deceives would-be predators. One of the masters of deceit is the anglerfish, which can develop in an unending variety of ways, adapting to the appearance of its surroundings. This hairy anglerfish has grown to adopt the appearance of the soft coral, eluding predators and deceiving prey. With a skill for deception that is common in the muck, the anglerfish can also cast out this lure to attract unsuspecting prey. Once drawn in, these masters of disguise can strike out at their prey with one of the fastest strikes in nature. The Ambon scorpionfish has developed pectoral fins that allow it to walk across the sea floor. Appearing much like a tuft of algae, the Ambon further promotes this misconception by bobbing up and down in the water, swaying in the often non-existing current. With this tactic, the scorpionfish is able to approach its prey without calling attention to itself. And once in range, the scorpionfish lashes out at its unsuspecting prey with a strike so fast it's difficult to see. In a world of masquerade, nothing is what it appears. Arguably, though, the king of mimicry is this animal, called the ghost pipefish. After birth, the pipefish goes through a settling out phase, and once it finds a home, the pipefish can develop the appearance of almost any environment, from leafy red crinoids to bright green seagrass swaying with the tide. You can pass thousands of blades of grass or seaweed and never notice that a few of these blades of grass peacefully floating by happen to have eyes. Just as impressive is this Halimeda crab, which has done an equally incredible job of adopting the appearance of its host. Its intricate disguise offers this crab an opportunity to live out in the open, unnoticed by predators, and free to feed on algae forming on the Halimeda plant. In this murky environment, you can only guess at how many thousands of varieties of pipefish are missed by our cameras. You just never know what you're looking at. Stay under long enough, and you may even see a jellyfish scurry by. On legs? Or it's possible you'll even see a piece of driftwood walking across the sea floor. But as it turns out, what you're seeing is a carrier crab. Lacking any sufficient protection of its own, the carrier crab has adapted 4 legs on its back to lift and carry protection for you. With some careful work, the carrier crab easily lifts the urchin up onto its back and carries it across the sea floor. Lowering itself slowly into the sand, the carrier crab holds tightly onto its unwilling friend and is safe for now. Using other creatures for protection is just part of the game down in the muck. Cephalopods, like the mimic octopus, have no protection of their own and have developed skills for mimicry and deception that go far beyond most octopi. Startled by the camera, this mimic octopus tries to escape, swimming away in a posture that may be an imitation of a flounder. Unable to shake the pursuing cameraman, the mimic octopus then alters both shape and color, adopting the appearance of the seafloor and attempting to mimic a brittle star. Both the mimic octopus and its close cousin, the wonderpuss, are still yet to be officially named by science and were only recently discovered by recreational divers. Also adept at life in the muck, the wonderpuss is not hard to spot, and its bright red coloring wards off most would-be predators, fearing that their flamboyant coloration is a sign of poisonous toxicity. The tiny blue ring octopus is no bigger than a golf ball, but his flamboyant blue ring display is no empty threat. One bite from this tiny cephalopod contains enough poison to kill a human being. The bright blue rings are meant to warn potential predators, or cameramen, that it has the ability to inject a deadly neurotoxin with no known antidote. The toxin, called tetrodotoxin, is often considered the most deadly on the planet. Less menacing is the small two-spot octopus. Unfortunately for divers and predators alike, most animals don't stay out in the open long enough to be seen, and any object that can be found along the seafloor will be used to provide shelter and safety from predators. Even a couple small coconut shells. with claw-like pectoral fins designed to help it walk across the sea floor. The devilfish has also developed lethal spines sticking out along the dorsal fins. Devilfish will often bury themselves in the substrate with only its mouth and poisonous spines exposed, safe from other predators, and waiting to ambush any small prey that happens to swim by. Here, a male devilfish approaches and displays his colors in an attempt to entice the female to mate. These two nudibranchs are attempting to mate. If only their friend, the emperor shrimp, would cooperate and give the two some privacy. Because they are extremely poisonous, nudibranchs have very few predators and are free to mate out in the open when they please. Most animals, however, must wait for the cover of darkness to satisfy their reproductive urges. When nighttime arrives in muck diving territory, the already dark and murky environment becomes almost completely obscured. And once the sun goes down, the creatures come out of hiding to feed and mate. This anglerfish is in the right place at the right time, as a school of fish pass by, giving him a meal of a lifetime. Perhaps he ate a little too much. The scorpionfish strikes out at any fish that crosses his path. These panda clownfish have taken refuge in a sea anemone, where they are protected from predators like this slipper lobster. As the slipper lobster approaches, the fish panic and try to take cover. But the slipper lobster easily catches one of the anemone fish and tears into it for an easy meal. This harlequin shrimp is attempting to make an unwilling meal out of a large sea star. As he slowly eats the legs, the sea star is able to regenerate them, usually fast enough to stay a few steps ahead of the hungry harlequin. This rarely seen and still unidentified hairy octopus is seen here for the first time on film. Another rare sight is this unidentified black sole, also out looking for food. Happening across a small crab, the sole decides this meal is not worth the trouble. The unusual-looking maline, with its large, stretching mouth, is another rare sight, reserved only for those who venture out into the muck at night, when most feeding takes place. This tiger mantis is digging a new hole from which to hunt. From the hidden confines of this new den, the tiger mantis is able to quickly strike out at fish passing by and take them back into his den to eat. This one makes a narrow escape. The bobbit worm also stays submerged below the sea floor by day and emerges only at night to hunt. deceptively powerful predators that are able to catch and kill even large fish as they swim past. Unsuspecting fish never know what might rise up from the muck to devour them. This stargazer can strike from beneath the sand or can dangle its lure-like tongue to attract fish that are out looking for a meal of their own. Then, as they pass by, the stargazer devours them. This juvenile white V octopus is also out looking for a meal. Possibly a cousin of the mimic octopus, the adult white V is a skilled hunter with impressive speed, nimble tentacles, and great eyesight, able to shoot across the bottom, grab unsuspecting prey, and draw it into his mouth. But hunting is not the only game played at night. Nighttime also provides cover of darkness these animals need to mate. The blue sea star releases sperm and eggs into the outgoing tide. Rarely seen in the day, the pictured dragonettes spend their nights looking for suitable mates. Known as broadcast spawners, these types of animals scatter fertilized eggs freely in the water column at night when the tide takes the eggs out to sea, where there is less chance of predation. These mandarin fish, also mating under the cover of darkness, link bodies and slowly rise in the water column, releasing a mixture of sperm and eggs that disappears into the outgoing tide. Other fish take a more hands-on approach to raising their offspring. These clownfish have just given birth to a colony of eggs alongside this anemone. With high mortality rates, many species, including the clownfish and this octopus, will fiercely protect their offspring until they reach maturity. This small mantis mother is carrying her eggs with her to protect them. These snails also come out to mate under the darkness of night, linking bodies at their unhurried pace, only to separate once the female has been fertilized. These two crabs have found each other. The male crab approaches the female, connecting from the back as the male moves the female into position before they settle in to mate. When the eggs are ready, the crab will release them into the water column. The moon-faced Euthyphenops comes out at night in search of food and mating opportunities. These two nudibranchs have matched up, joining together to mate. Once finished, each of the two nudibranchs will be able to lay eggs in a pink spiral egg ribbon. The nest of flamboyant cuttlefish eggs was left in the protection of a coconut shell, where, barring the intervention of predators, they will slowly develop into fully grown cuttlefish. A unique creature born into a unique world, the young flamboyant cuttlefish will have to learn to adapt to this strange world of mimicry and masquerade. living together with a cast of creatures whose diversity is unmatched. It's a world where every night the creatures come out under the cover of darkness, looking to mate and to feed. All night long, the incredible game of survival plays on. And as dawn nears, the animals retreat back under their shells, into their dens, or sink back into the safety of the sand, hoping to survive another day of eluding divers and predators in their never-ending game of hide and seek.